One of the other things that we're doing and have been shipping is this thing called IIS Media Services. This is basically a free server product that runs on top of IIS, and it basically enables you to stream video on the web. One of the big things that it provides, and we've kind of been pioneering, is this concept called smooth streaming, which is basically a way that you can deliver video to any type of device. Actually, the format is now open. We support it also with the Xbox, with the new Xbox streaming that's coming out this summer. We're also supporting it with set-top boxes and mobile devices. But basically it's a way that you can take any video format, either VC1 or H.264, and the idea is you basically cut it up into 2-second chunks. And then at each of the 2-second chunk intervals, you basically encode your video at multiple bit rates. So in other words, if I have a 60-second video, I basically have 30 2-second chunks. I can then choose to say I want to encode those chunks at, let's say, 350K, which is sort of YouTube-like quality. I could say I want to have a 700K bits version, a 1.1 megabit version, a 1.5 megabit version, a 2 megabit, and a 3 megabit version. What we then are capable of doing with smooth streaming is we can basically adaptively switch the bit rate to use at every 2-second chunk interval. So we can look and see what the network capability is and what your client capability is in terms of CPU, and we can basically adapt the bit stream on the fly to basically best maximize how things work. Other big benefit of this is that those 2-second chunks can all be cached at the edge within content delivery networks. So if you've ever put a popular website online, you might have stuck your images or your CSS up in a CDN. And that way, when someone actually goes to your site, instead of going back to your web server to download those chunks, those files, they can actually just pull it off of, say, Akamai or Limelight or Level 3 or whoever your CDN provider is, and make for a much faster, snappier experience. It also saves you a lot of costs on bandwidth. Basically, the smooth streaming has been designed so it actually integrates within those CDN networks, which means that your video actually plays a lot faster and the cost of streaming it is dramatically cheaper. For Wimbledon that's going on this week, we'll probably support upwards of 1 million concurrent people watching the HD video at the same time. We're actually running the entire site off of 3 web servers. And the reason is basically all the CDN loads handling about 97% of the traffic. Very little is going back to the origin, which means that traditionally you need to buy about 200 servers in order to handle that load. You can basically get away with 1 or 2 standard-based dual-proc web servers and never hit about 20% load. Kind of dramatically changes the cost of streaming high-quality video. So you can install this media services product on top of any IIS box, and it's completely for free. So what I thought I'd do is actually show 2 quick demos. You can see this one if you go to iis.net/media, and you can run it yourself. There's this little thing called Watch It Now with a weird little penguin. And if you click it, you can basically run this little demo of sort of a video. And this is basically showing off smooth streaming in action. You can basically see over here what bit rate the video is actually being streamed at as you actually play the experience. You can see we started out at 350K and then it quickly saw there was enough bandwidth to jump up to about a 3 megabit video. If you want to, you can actually simulate different bit rates and see how it adaptively switches. The other nice thing, actually let's go full screen. The other nice thing you'll notice about smooth streaming is because it's split up into 2-second chunks, if you actually click somewhere else in the video, you get basically instantaneous seek time. You'll notice if you watch carefully, it gets a little blurry at first and then gets crisper. So it's a little blurry, gets crisper. Basically what's happening here is it started out at 350K and it's basically skyrocketing now to take advantage of the bandwidth. The nice thing is from a user perspective, there's no buffering, even though this video is being served back on the west coast of the US. If I started doing a compile or something, my bit rate would probably go down as it detected my CPU was busy, and then it would automatically scale back up based on capability. So it's sort of an example of smooth streaming. You can go to this other site, nextsmooth.com, which is actually in Korea, similar experience. They are also doing smooth streaming. You can see it's coming from Korea, so we're starting out at about 300K. As the video comes up, we're starting to climb. Just about, oops, I just went to 600 seconds, go away there. Anyway, you can see it's sort of slowly climbing as I'm going to Korea. This is a video, that's why it's black. But You can basically see I'm steadily climbing, and the quality gets crisper and crisper. The end user experience is really smooth. They have this nice little shutter thing here. Again, instant seek, good quality. And the video is actually black here. That's not a problem with the bug. But anyway, so that was sort of a couple examples of smooth streaming in action. So the other thing that basically Silverlight provides is a really rich graphics runtime. So in addition to playing video, that's the last video thing I'll play. We'll do programming from now on. We also basically give you the ability to take advantage of this rich graphics surface. It is hardware accelerated, both on Windows and on the Mac. And so we do take advantage of the GPU. We provide a bunch of features that are new in Silverlight 3, like perspective 3D support. Silverlight 1 and 2 always had rich vectors and other graphics primitives. We're also adding bitmap and pixel APIs. Pixel shader effects is basically allow you to write DX shaders using the DX API, DirectX API. On Windows we'll run it. We actually have a version that will automatically convert them to OpenGL bytecode on the Mac. We have animation easing support, so if you've ever used like an iPhone or some other type of consumer device, and you'll notice that the animations aren't actually fixed speed, they'll actually bounce a little bit and things like that. You can take advantage of that built in with Silverlight. We'll show how to do that a little bit later. And we have a bunch of other kind of graphic capabilities and improvements. One of the things I always say is use these powers for good, not evil. All these graphics power, and so what I thought I'd do is violate that rule and show some examples of some evil stuff you can do. So this is a simple example of basically a control with some 3D effects on it. We can load an image. So this is where I'm using basically a new Silverlight 3 perspective support. Same way I can do it with an image, I can do it with an HD video. So you can again see how smooth it is. And then for people who are doing line of business apps, the cool thing you'll know is that you can actually do this with data grid as well. And what's cool is, notice how tab selection still works smoothly with the 3D effects. The reason I show this is partly because it's gratuitous and fun, but also because it actually illustrates the fact that basically the way our graphics and control system work. You can basically take advantage of all the features regardless of whether it's a control, whether it's control built with the graphics, inside a layout manager, etc. And so it's a very composable system, which ends up being very powerful. As I mentioned, you can actually do effects, so you can actually do a shader effect here and zoom in case, I can't think of a good reason why you do that, but you can do this likewise if you want to actually see that little crazy bird that comes back. You can zoom it in, you can do ripple effects, again, kind of all whatever you can see. You can click here, we can actually double spin it, and then here's another gratuitous, somewhere if I click around here, there we go. You can blow it apart, and if you missed that, click and you can see it again. So anyway, example of gratuitous stuff you can do graphics-wise. The cool thing is you have the power to do it. You can take advantage of any hardware. And again, it's composable, so as much as these things are actually gratuitous, you can actually build really rich controls out of them and then reuse those controls in a variety of different scenarios. So whether it's charting, whether it's data visualizations, etc., you can take advantage of all that power.